At the beginning of our golden years as a retired couple, we wanted to travel. Grant was always the navigator. He had a compass in his head, and we were driving around Italy, and he couldn't find the place where we were staying. We drove around and around in circles for an hour, and I had no idea where we were, so we were all surprised because Grant never got lost.
Hey, say something. What are you making, Grant? Grant, what are you making?
I'm making a pizza.
He would be searching for words, he would be repeating himself, and I started to realize that there was something more than just a normal aging process going on. There was something happening faster.
Yeah?
It was scary.
Grant was actually diagnosed originally with MCI, which is mild cognitive impairment, not with Alzheimer's, because he scored quite high on the test at first.
We had talked about him going to a program here in Oakville, and he was already too far progressed for that type of a program.
We went to courses with a group of other people in his age group and some older, and I noticed that he couldn't keep up with them. He was starting to have trouble even just working his phone. He knew something was wrong. The Alzheimer's was, we used to joke about why didn't they have a simpler word for it, so we'd call it AD. So we tried that for a while, but when it got to the point where I couldn't leave him alone for even a minute, then my life changed. If we would go anywhere, we went with another couple or with our children or somebody that could help me because he wanted to travel. The easiest holiday for us to take was to rent a cottage, and I had people with me most of the time. I didn't realize that change of atmosphere was going to trigger some very odd behavior.
He wasn't sleeping properly. We couldn't get him to, sit for even a few minutes to eat lunch.
So it got to the point where I couldn't control him.
He was visibly scared.
He was just ranting and raving all over the place. So I had to get our daughter to come up and help me get him in the car and pack up the house. And we brought him to Toronto Western, to the emergency.
We were concerned for his safety, and I thought the hospital would be able to provide that for us. And they did, but it was not what I expected.
5 months. It took 5 months because they were trying to find out how to calm him, and I could not bring him home. It took 5 months before we got a placement in Mississauga, so not even where I wanted him, not even in Oakville. It was in Mississauga, but in a special behavioral unit. I went in almost every day, made sure he was properly groomed, and he loved to eat, so he was always, well fed, and it was very difficult to watch, very difficult. And I don't know how else we could have done it, but we were stuck, following the system. Over the course of about a week, we had noticed Grant pausing between breaths for about 20 seconds. Then I got a call saying that Grant was gasping for air. When I first saw him, I thought this is going to be a matter of hours. And they wanted me to go to the hospital with him. And I said no. I had been told the facility could help us with the end-of-life process. I talked with the nurse and they said, okay, let's put him on oxygen, and that helped a little bit, but our concern was that Grant was in pain. Of course, this all happened over a weekend, on a Saturday night. They had to get in touch with the doctor, and it took 14 hours before he got his first injection of morphine.
The doctor had ordered that medication be administered every 15 minutes, and that just wasn't happening.
There was one nurse on the night shift, one nurse for the entire facility with 200 residents. I had to constantly keep asking, can we give him more? They did it slowly over the couple of days. They were being cautious. They were giving enough painkiller to ease the suffering, ease the distress, but not enough to kill him. Finally, a doctor came in and saw the distress that Grant was in. It was obvious that we were very near end of life, so Grant was calmer there at that point, and so I took the oxygen off him. He then had some peace, and he died.
Do you think Grant had a good death?
No.
All we wanted for him was to be comfortable, and there were points when he was clearly uncomfortable.
I mean, I can understand. The nurses are trained to look after the patients. They don't want to kill him. I mean, I do understand that. It's just difficult to watch when someone's in distress. I remember Grant saying very, very clearly, just put me on a beach somewhere, put me in a bathing suit, and just let me go. In this day and age, everyone deserves to die with dignity and hopefully peacefully, which wasn't the case with Grant. And we would just not want any other family to go through that.